this is Kai Zen. I play Phyla in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and make sure to watch Pop Culture with Pat.
Hey guys, welcome back to Pop Culture with Pat. So I am so excited today. I am talking to a very special guest. We're going to be talking all things Guardians of the Galaxy with Kai Zen, who plays Phyla in the movie. Thank you for coming on the show today, Kai.
Yeah, of course. Hi, guys.
So, Kai, before we jump into all things Guardians of the Galaxy, and this might have some slight spoilers for the movie, so just a heads up if you guys haven't seen the film, just a warning for that. But before we get into that, I just wanted to ask you, what was it that made you decide that you wanted to be an actor in the first place, and how did you get started?
Well, I just loved pretending ever since I was little, and even now I'm like, Mom, pretend I'm British, and we're like just going to Whole Foods or something, and my mom's like, again. But I just loved all things pretending and acting when I was younger, and I just really wanted to be in a commercial. And then I started off with commercials, and then as I got older, I started getting auditions for movies, and yeah.
So you get cast in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, this huge movie. Can you just talk about how that role came about for you and what the audition process was like?
Yeah, so two self-tapes. This was a couple of years ago, so I don't remember all the details, but these were two self-tapes, and then I got the good news.
Awesome. Yeah, no, and then so did you know going into the movie that you were going to be playing Phyla, or did the character not really have a name like at that point?
Well, when I got the call, yes, we knew I was going to play Phyla. But before, yeah, I had no idea.
Yeah, I was to say, I know, yeah, Marvel, it can be very secretive as far as like the casting and stuff like that goes. So it was just two self-tapes and that was it. Then you got the role?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So going into the movie, how familiar were you with just the Marvel Cinematic Universe and then the Guardians of the Galaxy movies? Like, had you watched any of those movies or any of the shows beforehand?
Well, I was very young when Volume 1 and Volume 2 came out, but after they came out, I watched them and I loved them. But after I found out I got the role, I watched Volume 1 and Volume 2 like multiple times. So then I could just really understand the background.
Yeah, Volume 1 is one of my favorite, not only just like Marvel movies, but it's probably like one of my favorite movies of all time. I remember I saw that original movie, I think 5 times in the theaters. And then I gotta tell you, Kai, that seeing Volume 3 is like right up there with Volume 1 for me, which is saying a lot. Like I said, I really love this movie, but Volume 3 I absolutely love. So, congratulations on, the great movie and the, how successful it's been so far.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, but I listened to Come and Get Your Love so much.
Did you listen to like the whole like Guardians like soundtrack?
Oh yeah. Yes, that was on my playlist for so long, and it still is.
Yeah, James Gunn, he does a great job of picking out, the music for all the different movies. So can you talk about the transformation process of getting transformed into Phyla filming and what that was like?
So I was just really excited in the morning when I got called over to set, because I was super excited to see all the hair and makeup department because they're all so friendly and sweet. Regularly, I just got my wig on first before I got my makeup on, but they put my hair in a tight ponytail, put some gel on it, and then put a wig cap. And then after the wig was on, they put some glue at the side of the wig so that it would stay on. After a while, I really felt like that was my hair. For the makeup, after, like those little tattoos that you secure with water?
Yes. Yep.
It was kind of like that. They just put it on my cheeks, and then they just put some water on it. And then they kind of drew the lines on with the lines on my face.
Cool. Yeah. Now, what was your favorite part, I guess, of wearing the costume for Phyla? Did you have like a favorite part of her outfit, or?
Our first costume that the High Evolutionary had us in, when we were in the cages, those were like super comfy. They felt like I was wearing pajamas. Yeah. And I was never hot because they were sleeveless, and this is really comfy. It just felt like I was in a pair of pajamas.
And now I'm assuming you probably have not seen this movie because it's a horror movie, but it's there's a movie called The Children of the Damned, and all of the kids have like the silver hair like you guys had in that movie. So
Oh,
I don't know if that's something, if that's like a reference that James Gunn was going for at all, but if you ever just like, have your parents like look up the pictures for the movie, and like a lot of the kids, they all have like silver hair and they all have like these like red eyes. So I don't know if that's something was a reference, but it looked just like it.
oh, I'll check
Yeah.
that out.
Now, when you got the character too, did James Gunn, did he like? I'm assuming, were you familiar with who the character was? Did James Gunn tell you anything about her like once you got the role?
Well, I had a bunch of questions for James about my character and just like her background and everything. And yeah, I tried to research about her, like, and I saw the comic version, and I was like, she's super cool. James always made time to answer questions, and one time, he was a little bit busy at the moment. I had some questions about the scene, and he just came over to my tent and he explained it all. And was,
That's very, very nice. I mean, it seems like, a great guy to work with on set. And speaking of, I mean, it must have been so much fun for you getting to work on this movie overall, just because of all the different creatures, all the different cool sets. I mean, watching this movie, like it felt like you were really in outer space and all these different planets. So can you just talk about like your overall experience of working on the set, and like what were some of your favorite creatures and then like the different sets to work on?
oh, yes. Oh my gosh, the sets, they're packed with so much detail. Yeah, but one time, I was kind of freaked out, but in a great way, and it was really cool. But one time when I was in the makeup chair, the war pig head that
Oh,
Adam Warlock kind of rips off.
yep.
Yeah, standing there in the makeup trailer, and I was like, "What's that?" It was, the pig head was just there, and then they were like, "Oh yeah, he's gonna carry that," and I was like, "Ah."
Yeah, I can imagine that being kind of creepy, just seeing it kind of, sitting there by itself. So, yeah,
Yeah,
I know you said you had like a couple of like favorite sets. You can make like you can name like several of them if you wanted to.
there was so much detail in everything. Like sometimes they smudged a little bit of grease on some of the cages, and it just shows how much thought they put in all the sets. One actually fun moment was when there was the explosion
Yep.
when he stood away from the starboard walls. Well, James, he went like boom during that moment, and then we all screamed during that time. And he was like boom, and then for each take, it was really funny.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, it sounds like it was fun. And you guys, I mean, there was a ton of people, all the different kids that were in like the cages and stuff with you guys. So it must have been just fun, all of you guys kind of hanging out together. So Phyla, she gets to interact with several members of the Guardians of the Galaxy, including, Drax, Dave Bautista, Karen Gillan, Pom Klementieff, who plays Mantis. Can you just talk about like working with them like overall in general?
Oh yes. So behind the scenes, when we were filming the Joop Joop scene, she said to me and a couple other kids, "Hey, do you guys want to feel my antennas?" And they were a little bit squishy, and it was cool. And yeah, Dave was always checking on us. Like one time he was like, "You guys okay?" Like making sure we were okay after filming the scene. And Karen, yes, she was so sweet. She was interacting with us, chatting. Yeah.
Yeah, I've gotten to meet all three of them in person at different like Comic Con conventions, and they're all
Oh,
just like super, super nice people. So I imagine getting to work with them. But yeah, no, it must have been really cool seeing them all done up in their makeup and their outfits and everything, especially, yeah, I imagine Mantis with like her antennas. That was cool that she let you guys, kind of like play with those.
yeah.
Now, do you have like a favorite scene, or even if you have like multiple scenes, do you have like a favorite scene that you did overall in the movie?
Well, I have a lot of favorite scenes, but probably the dance scene with the song "The Dog Days Are Over" playing because we just literally danced and we just did a bunch of random weird dances. It was so much fun, and especially with that song playing in the background, it was just a really happy moment.
Yeah, no, I mean that was a great way to end the movie. It was like even though it was a little sad just because we knew that some of the Guardians were kind of going their own way. It was also happy because I was very happy to see that we made it to the end of the movie and all of the, those characters survived because I was so nervous watching this movie. I thought that several of the Guardians were going to die, especially you probably can't see it. I have a Rocket Raccoon shirt on,
Oh my
but
gosh, so cool.
I was so nervous that he was going to die, that Star-Lord was going to die. So I was just happy at the end of the movie that all of them were alive. They were just, going off doing their own things. Was there any, I know you've like talked a little bit about a couple of like fun, like stories. Do you have like any other fun behind the scenes stories that come to your mind just from like working on the movie overall?
Oh yes. So the cast was definitely not afraid to get goofy behind the scenes. And James, I've never met anyone like him, and I probably never will. He's just the sweetest, kindest, caring person. And when I first met him, he was like, "Hi, I'm James. You want a tour of the Guardian spaceship?" And I was like, "What? This is real?" Like, I just thought it was CGI, but it was incredible. Yeah, the first time I met Karen, she was like, "I want to hug you, but I don't want to make you blue." And she's the complete opposite of grouchy Nebula. But
That's
yeah,
great. Those are, I mean, that I can imagine. I just imagine myself getting to see the Guardian ship. That would be insane. So that's very cool that you got to, tour that stuff beforehand. And yeah, no, I imagine Karen, I've met her, like I told you, I met her in person and she was just one of the nicest people. So that's so much fun. Now, can you talk about filming the scene where you're running on the wheel in front of the High Evolutionary and how was that filmed?
this is actually it was very funny. So it was on a treadmill, and I was just laughing like for hours. Like I was like on a treadmill, and they actually spent a couple days on this just so then they can get the VFX right and everything. And my laugh, it was just like stuck in my head for like by the millionth take, and it was getting a little bit creepy. Like it was like
Oh, I can imagine. Say, how did they get the camera angle where it looked like you were just like spinning around? Do you know how they did that?
yeah, it was really cool. So like they were just spinning the camera, like it was just spinning while I was on the treadmill, and it was really cool.
Yeah, no, the shot came out really cool. So I was curious to see how that, was filmed. Now, what was you talked a little bit about, working with James Gunn, but what was it like having James Gunn as your director? And did he give you any advice, whether it was filming specific scenes, which I know we've talked a little bit about that, but then did he just give you any advice just for like the future, like the rest of your career as well?
Well, I asked him a lot of questions just like about my character, and he gave me a lot of advice about like the scene and the character, and just watching him direct, just it was like getting a million questions answered. I mean, you could just see his genius at work when he was directing, and it's just I'm just beyond grateful to be able to work with him. He's so sweet and so caring.
Yeah, it must have been, I imagine it must have been so cool to just see that done up front, up in person, getting to see him at work, putting this movie all together. Now, Kai, is there anything to just kind of wrap things up for you? Is there anything else that you would just like to say about working on the movie overall and just to all the fans out there?
It was such an incredible experience for me, and it was one of the best experiences of my life. And on my first day on set, he showed me a storyboard of the scene we were about to film, and it was just incredible because he sketched each panel, and yeah, it was just incredible. It's so like,
Oh yeah, I imagine it must feel like it's like you must feel like it's almost like still a dream. Like, oh, did I really get to film like this movie? Is that still kind of like still hitting you right now?
yes, I still cannot believe it till this to this day, and it was just so surreal, you know.
Yeah, and what's the reaction just been like for you from like any of your family, friends getting to see the movie? I imagine it must have been pretty cool these past couple weeks having people just telling you about seeing you in the movie.
Oh, yeah. So, last week, I saw the movie with my friends for the third time, and they really, really enjoyed it. And I spotted two of my friends crying during some of the rock scenes. Like they were like,
I
yeah,
don't
and they enjoyed it.
I don't blame them. Yeah, no, I teared up. So I've seen the movie three times as well. I saw it three times that opening weekend. So I saw it, it was like Thursday night, saw it Friday, and then I saw it, I think it was like Sunday, I saw it again. So I've seen it three times so far, and I'm planning to go back to the theater, hopefully at least like one or two more times to see it again. One more thing, actually, I just wanted to ask you too, Kai. Did you get to like keep anything from set, or did they give you like any gifts as far as like for working on the set or anything like that?
Well, I did not get to keep anything. All the stuff is probably stashed in a warehouse somewhere, but
I
there's
imagine if you had the chance to, there probably would have been what if you had the chance, if you could have taken anything, like what would you have wanted the most from the set, I guess.
oh, from the set, if I could have taken anything, that is so hard. To be completely honest, I blurb from the movie. I would have
Or
took him, even though he's not real. I would have probably wanted to take him the most.
yeah, yeah, no, that's a good choice. Well, thank you so much again, Kai. I really appreciate you, coming on here, taking time out of your schedule to talk about your career and talk about the movie. And yeah, people can keep up with your work. You're on Instagram. So it's your Instagram. It's just your first and last name, right?
Mhm.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you so much again, Kai. I really appreciate you coming on.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye. Bye, guys. Hi, this is Kai Zen. I play Phyla in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and make sure to watch Pop Culture with Pat.